In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, and despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Good morning, good day, good evening. It's Jack Alexander right here of the Jack Alexander Experiment. And I got to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here in the SHR Media Network. How the hell did I get here so quickly? Well, it's called airplanes. You got a belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back. Tonight is Thursday. It is September 12th. 2019, the year of our Lord. You got a belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat. It's great to see you back. Tonight, Snowball is going to be a bartender. He pulls with the best of them. And the lava lamp is, in fact, lighted. There it is. Let's see, that would be my right, your left, my right, your left. Right. And that means you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com. That's the only official chat room. Go right there, right now, quick like a bunny. shrmedia.com. That's where the chat room lives. Now, if you want to watch the show, you can watch it on the SHR Media Facebook page, the SHR Media YouTube channel, and, that's right, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but as Jack Alexander says, the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet. Please flush BZ's toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. And luckily, we have in the saloon BZ all night. So, BZ, welcome. BZ?
Oh, man. That was classic.
It's Jack! Jack, what are you doing on the phone?
Pissing myself.
No, you aren't. Come on. You don't do that. Okay, quick.
I was gonna call up for a job interview, but that was funnier than the Democrat debate that I just watched.
Oh, okay. Don't think that I don't have clips for that either. I would have to disabuse you immediately and quickly that I don't have at least one cut for that. I watched maybe 42.7 seconds of it, and I got my fill. And so, but the great thing about tonight, I don't know if you watched any of it, and I do logically, I really do have a cut, but the knives were out tonight. It was glorious. The knives were out, almost like the other one as well, or the other debates. But now it's down to kind of a manageable 10 people on the stage. But it was, I think it's going to continue to be a night of long knives every time these people get together. Right now they happen to be in Houston, and I'm sure they're having great temperate, hot, humid weather. So that's enough to put everybody in a great mood when they get up on that stage. Hey, welcome to the people in chat. Welcome to Simone and Mike. And hey, there's Jack in chat, Alaskan, and one viewer who will remain masked because we do not unmask people here in the saloon. And so Jack Alexander is live and direct from Oz. And I should have found this out before. Jack, how far away is where you live in Australia from the locus of evil on the entire left coast of the United States of America, the Capitol building, the Bill Mill at 10th and L Street, where late at night you can hear the death knell of common sense and smell the odoriferous, horrific stench of sulfur and brimstone in miles? Or maybe if you're really good, how far is it in kilometers? And if you're the best, how far is it in cubits?
Let's see, what is it, about a 16-hour flight direct from Melbourne to Los Angeles. So it's
what is that like?
It'd have to be like 10,000 miles or something.
God, okay, that's farther than I can swim. That's for sure. Although,
everyone keeps telling me, I should just swim over. I mean, everyone else, that's born south of the border seems to just, swim into the country. Why don't I do it? And I said, well, yeah, there's a lot of, a lot of miles and a lot of big fish with big pointy teeth between here and there.
Right, and the other thing is that if you cross the Rio Grande in certain places, you run the horrific risk of getting your ankles moist. So we can't have that. Oh, my God. So anyway, welcome to everybody in chat, and welcome to Jack of the Jack Alexander Experiment. You have your own radio show, and I'm going to pimp you tonight. I'm going to pimp your ride. Well, actually, I'm going to pimp your website. You can find Jack Alexander at, I know, I hope everybody is sitting down right now, at jackalexanderexperiment.com, because his radio show is called the Jack Alexander Experiment. So you can find pretty much anything that you want to know about Jack or link to any of his shows at jackalexanderexperiment.com. You can go to the homepage. You can watch the show. You can... I learned this today, Jack Alexander. You have a merch store. What can we purchase in your merch store?
I have T-shirts. I have some coffee mugs. Just the normal sort of stuff that we tend to put in merch stores. I do need to grow it more. But that's what's in there at the moment.
Maybe I mentioned your merch store for a reason. Does anybody think that maybe I mentioned his merch store for a reason? Would there be a reason? Yeah. Oh, you like that one? You want that one? Okay. There's a reason that I'm mentioning it. And for those of you on video who are watching on the SHR Media Facebook page or the SHR Media YouTube channel. Hey, if you go to the SHR Media YouTube channel, now I'm a terrible social media pimp, and I should start pimping my own show and SHR. So if you go to the SHR Media YouTube channel, make sure you click like and you follow us, and you, let's see, what's the other thing? You can click on notifications, so when the show gets up, and it'll send you a notification, it'll say, the fat guy is on, the fat guy is on, the fat guy is on. And then you click on that, and then the fat guy is on. But the point of it was, if you're on video right now and you're watching, and I'm sorry for those of you in Spreaker that are listening right now, that are maybe, I don't know, cleaning your parakeet cage or balancing your checkbook. Look, it's merch from BZ. Now I'm wearing a red. Let me describe this to you for those who are not watching on video. Well, let me see if I get this straight. It says, oh, my beard is covering it. You can't see crap. Well, probably you don't have a beard. But, folks, it says, and there's a picture of me, and I'm wearing a red shirt. It says, BZ doesn't abuse alcohol. He teaches it a fucking lesson. So, I am going to create my very own merch store, and it's going to be called the Zepworks, Zepwerx. As soon as I can figure out how to add that to my blog. And once it's up, though, I'm going to have a whole bunch of stupid stuff just like this, that if you want to give your favorite partner or the person you hate most in your life, similar like a coffee mug or something like that. Hey, I already have a mug up there. Okay, I'm going to get my mug. I actually have one in the studio right here. I should have brought that originally. What, BZ, what were you not thinking? The answer was I wasn't thinking. At the break, I'll come back and do that. But I'm going to start throwing merch out there too. Why? Because I went to the Jack Alexander site and I saw, well, Jack has swag. Why can't I have swag? So I'm going to have swag. Thanks for the recommendation, Jack.
Oh, look, I'm glad to be, perverting the or leading such a bad example.
I know.
To my fellow colleagues in the industry.
Yeah, as Alaskan says, "G'day, Jack," and Alaskan says, "Howdy, Clyde." Clyde, by the way, is very quiet these days. Whiskey Dale is not here, so I can talk behind his back. Whiskey Dale gave me Clyde. He gave me the Bobcat. There's actually a Bobcat in the saloon, hence the Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Let's see.
And we've got my greatest supporter, Wendy, watching us on Facebook as well. So,
oh, great. Okay.
hello, Wendy.
Okay, great.
She's one of my greatest supporters outside of my family. Wendy is probably one of my biggest supporters.
If she's in really good shape, that means she could be an athletic supporter. Tell Wendy to come on over. What? Tell Wendy to come on over into chat right here at shrmedia.com, and we will welcome her with open arms. And
I did. I told everyone at the end of my show to make sure they came in and they joined us in the chat.
Yeah. So, folks, if you're listening on the SHR Facebook page or the SHR YouTube channel, come on over, shrmedia.com. Chat's where it's at. It's not chat. That was last night. It's the regular chat room, but it is the saloon chat room. So come on over. Anyway, I'm just saying that, Jack, you were an inspiration to me completely. So if you want to go to jackalexanderexperiment.com, you can see his homepage. You can watch his show right there. You can go to his merch store. You can click on About Jack and find his long lesson in life. And then if you want to, you can hit contact us, and you can send him a 7-page screed if you wish to. You can support him at Patreon. You can donate at, You can donate at PayPal. You can watch on YouTube, Facebook Live. It's available on Spreaker. You can listen to him. Wow, you can listen. Think of all the places you can get Jack. You can listen to him on iHeartRadio. Okay, you can listen to me on iHeartRadio, too. You can listen to him on Spotify. I don't think I'm on Spotify. Listen on CastBox. I've never heard of CastBox. What is CastBox, Jack?
It's another blog or podcast distribution site. When I signed up to the distribution company that I used, that came as part of the package. And what? Being the media whores that we are we going to say, what, you don't want to be on this platform when it's included in the package? So, yeah, and they're I'm still waiting on a couple others to come on as well that were offered as well, but they seem to be taking their time just getting the approval through. Maybe I'm too conservative.
Yeah. And it says listen on Google Podcasts. Google is killing some stuff. They're not killing Google Podcasts, are they? Or do you even know?
No. Google Podcasts is something new. They've sort of taken it away from from Google Play. They've separated Google Play, which is just the pre-recorded music and stuff that you can buy, like any digital music store, and they've sort of moved the podcast over separately and given them their own storefront.
Google killed something recently. It wasn't the radio star. Google killed...
No, they did that a few years ago.
Not Google Play, but kind of the Google blog, social media kind of thing, and that's dead. Hey, you want to hear a weird story?
Oh, please.
Okay. I had no idea, and everybody knows me by now, really. Come on, folks. WTFU. I'm a techno-Luddite. I mean, you have to lead me, you have to hold my hand and say, this is a keyboard, PC. And Shauna's gone through all those machinations over the years. But I thought, okay, let's just go see where I am, where my show is, in the blogosphere and also on the internet. I had no idea. And Sean says he didn't put us there. So the question is, who did? I'm not complaining, mind you, but I didn't know until about a couple of months ago. I'm on iHeartRadio. I didn't ask for that. I'm not complaining. I'm on Apple Podcasts. So, folks, if you happen to be an Apple devotee, like Jeff Dunitz, and you only like Apple stuff, hell, you can find me on Apple Podcasts. I was on Google, whatever the hell. I didn't know that I was there. There was stuff. I found me on Periscope, of all places. I found me in the weirdest places, and I've talked this over already with Sean, and he says, although he could be lying, that he never applied and never put us there. So I'm sitting in the damn catbird seat. I'm probably speaking to 2 or 3 million people right now. Jack, you're right up there with me. You've got about, 1.7, 2 million people a show. So,
oh, yeah.
So to the millions and millions of people that are listening to us, and of course, Jack brought over his 2 mil, and with my 2 mil, that's 4 million people that are listening to us right now. So thank you.
We've got more people listening to us than CNN.
Oh, listen. About 2 months ago, I think it's channel 758, if you happen to have Dish, is the 24-hour Tibetan bell ringing channel.
Yes.
The 24-hour Tibetan bell ringing channel is kicking CNN's butt these days. It's funny that you should mention that because, folks, do you think that I may have 2 stories about CNN later in the show? And the answer would be yes. Yes, I do. So, welcome to Jack. It's good to hear you here tonight, my friend.
It's always a pleasure.
So, for those who may not know, or this is the first time that, I know it's silly, people know you, but for those who may have come in from Lower Slovenia, or perhaps they took the J bus downtown, or they caught a train to Pasadena instead of West Covina, could you tell people a little bit about you and where you come from and what kind of stuff you've done in the past? First and foremost, come on, folks, he's from Australia. You didn't notice my accent? So actually, I've got the accent, okay? As far as Jack is concerned, I have the accent. So, Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, this is the first time that they're tuning in. Where the bloody hell have they been?
No kidding!
First and foremost.
No kidding! Hell yes!
But my background is relatively simple. I started dabbling in broadcasting when I was about 14 years of age because of the business my parents were in. They had a small livestock auction business, and I would go down after school once a week to the local AM station and read the livestock report. And through that, I got introduced into this field. I left home at an early age, joined the military, spent 10 years in the Australian Army, serving a few overseas deployments, standing shoulder to shoulder with the fine men and women of the U.S. military in many of those places, like Somalia and Iraq and so on. On getting out of the military after a training accident, I got into broadcasting in a big way through a contact that I'd met through the military. One of the guys under my command, his big brother was the news director at a radio station. I started hanging out with a few of the people there and met a wonderful man who brought me in under his wing by the name of Doug Mulray. The best way to describe him is Howard Stern with the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin's accent. If you read,
well, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Very irreverent. Doug actually had a master's degree in English literature, and his grasp of English was phenomenal. When it came to double entendre and and innuendo, he had it down pat, and that's really a lot of what the show was. A lot of very much a British sort of thing. If you've ever watched the Goon Show or the Two Ronnies, Monty Python, that sort of thing, you get the sort of feeling of what sort of stuff. We did a lot of musical parodies. We made fun of politicians. One of the things that we were most noted for was actually having companies who had adverts on TV paying us, instead of playing their advert, to actually take the piss out of their ads, make fun of their ads. And
nice.
So we were completely irreverent at that sort of thing. It's sort of stuff you couldn't do now, mostly because we've all become politically correct, and it's completely screwed up comedy the world over. But that was the sort of thing that we did when amalgamation came to Australian radio. Because I was the new hire on the team, I got 86th out of there. I went from a station in Sydney down to a station in Melbourne. Didn't particularly fit into that mix, and they got new owners. I'd had a run in with one of the new owners prior to me even coming to that company, so I got 86th again, and found it very hard to get work. So I started one of Australia's first online radio stations, and tried to do the sort of comedy and stuff that I was used to doing, and just found that it was just too difficult to do the work of 20 people when you're one person trying to do 4 hours of live comedy radio 5 days a week.
Holy crap!
When you're doing trying to write and record the musical parodies, write the jokes, do the character voices, all the pre and post production, and also prep just for the normal chewing the fat sort of stuff that we talk about in radio. It just got too much, so I had to reinvent how I approached the industry, because I love broadcasting. I have for a long time. And, so I started to talk more and more of my observations of the world, throwing a bit of a comedic light onto it. And I noticed that I was beginning, because unlike regular terrestrial broadcasting, internet broadcasting, I'm not limited by the power of the transmitter.
Right.
So a station that's there in Sacramento, once you get 10, 20 miles out of Sacramento, unless it's at one of those 50,000 watt blowtorches, you're not going to be able to hear it. Internet broadcasting enabled me to be heard around the world, and I found out that my audience turned out to be 90% American. And
Sons of bitches. God. Damned
and,
Americans.
For a long time,
stay in your own country, Americans. Jesus.
Oh, look, I loved it because I've always wanted to come out. I have American ancestry in me, and I always wanted to come over and work here in the United States. But in having that online radio station, it actually opened the doors for that to happen. I got when I started doing more political talk and this outsider's point of view. Given that I'm very much a conservative, I make Rush Limbaugh look like a limp-wristed liberal. That's sort of how much on the conservative line that I am. I got approached by a national talk network out of DC that was covering the election. And this was for the Barack Obama, John McCain election, and back in 2008. And through that, what did the policies of McCain and Obama mean for America's allies, like Australia, who have stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States in almost every conflict that our nations have been involved with. We've stood shoulder to shoulder on that. And, so it gave a different perspective on the commentary leading up to the election. And through that, they said, look, it's in your best interest to come over and talk to us, which, I booked a ticket the next day. Unfortunately, Barack Obama gets elected, and we have a massive wildfire in Australia, and my home's destroyed.
What?
Yeah. But, okay, that job opportunity didn't pan out, but it opened up a lot of doors. From that, that whole thing opened up the doors where I spent 7 years as the online producer and a contributor for America Tonight with Kate Delaney, which was syndicated on some 200 stations around the U.S., and Kate became an incredible mentor to me. We're still good friends to this day, and we hang crap on each other over my love of the Denver Broncos and hers of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now that football season's on again,
Broncos.
You can imagine the sort of
Broncos.
Well, when I first came to the
Broncos.
When I first moved over here, I was living in Colorado, and I thought, hang on, I might get myself lynched if I don't support the local NFL team.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Hey, at least I'm not silly enough to follow the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, listen, when my dad was alive, Dad passed in 2009, but when my dad was alive, Dad was born in Minneapolis, and at a young age, during the Depression, his parents moved him to Dallas, and so he grew up in Dallas and always considered himself a Texan. And the Cowboys were his team. My team happens to be, there I was, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and it's like 1960, and I'm 10 years old. And, TVs are black and white. Then we get a color TV. Then football is on TV. And then my favorite team became the Green Bay Packers because I loved the colors. I loved yellow and I loved green. So I chose my football team because when we first got a color TV, I just liked the colors. So that's why I like the Green Bay Packers today.
Okay.
But,
it's as good a reason as mine for
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Admittedly, back then we had a run of really bad quarterbacks. I mean, we had Jay Cutler at the time, who was deliberately, to this day, I still think was deliberately throwing the game so he'd get traded. Then we had Tim Tebow, and look, as much as I admire Tim Tebow for the work he did off the field, I'm sorry, Tim, you're being paid a crap ton of money to be a star quarterback on the field. When your outside activities, no matter how noble and generous they are impacting on that, you need to make a choice. So thankfully they got rid of Tebow, and we got the great Peyton Manning, who took us on to a Super Bowl to win that. And unfortunately, then certain members of the Broncos started taking a knee during the national anthem.
Yeah.
And I wrote John Elway a very stern letter, saying, look, I will refuse to support the team anymore if players who have benefited so much from the freedoms they have in the United States, if they're going to take a knee, I'm not going to support the team. And I got a chain letter back. Thank you for supporting your Denver Broncos, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And nothing addressed the concerns that I had there. And I barely watched any NFL since. But thankfully, where I bought a house in Texas, the local high school has a really good team. I've got Mid-State University has a team and an arena in Wichita Falls, so I can get my share of football there. And I'm still not devoid of football, American football, here in Australia, because there is a growing American football competition here in Australia.
Really?
And as it is, one of my alma maters has, one of the teams is associated with my alma mater, and so I can sort of get that college football fix that I was deprived of going to college because it's a very much different system here, but. I can sort of live vicariously that life now by going and supporting the Northern Raiders and the field where they play is only about 45 minutes drive away, so it's not too bad.
Okay, well, it's 8:30 on the left coast. Folks, thanks for being here for NFL Chat. That's it for the show. We got to go. So thanks for being here tonight, folks, and we appreciate your patronage. Jack, thanks for being here. No, come back after the break, okay? I'm serious. Come back after the break. I'm serious.
Conservative media done right.
Come back, folks.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com, go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the first half hour is gone already, quick like a bunny. Where did it go? Went away. Well, tonight, we've got Jack Alexander of the Jack Alexander Experiment, where he is live and direct from Oz, from Australia. Tonight, as I said, this is the first appearance of possibly many of what I'm calling now the CONSTRATFOR. And the CONSTRATFOR is the Conservative Strategic Force. And tonight, the first CONSTRATFOR is between myself and Jack Alexander, where our two countries are linking forces in conservative unity to bring you buttery goodness in political politics of a political nature concerning politics right here on the internet. In a political fashion. That would be the politics involved of it. Simone, welcome to you. Mike, welcome. Jack, welcome. The Alaskan, welcome. Wendy Lawrence, welcome to the chat room. It's official. You're here. Thank you. Alan Thomas, fabulous Squatcher, Squatch Hunter. Alan, go ahead and tell us about your show. Alan? Okay, well, he's not here. He's in the chat room. So Alan is, you can watch him. He's in the Squatch Zone. You can go to YouTube and in the little search field right there, write in Squatch Zone, and you'll be able to find Alan's show, Squatch Zone. And now he has a drone, and I need to talk to Alan again because apparently the last time we chatted, some asshole ratted him out, and so he had to go sign up his drone. Now, folks, in the United States, Jack, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but now in the United States, if you buy a drone, and I was going to, because I thought, hey, having a drone, that could be really cool, put a little camera on it and stuff. And now if you buy a drone, people rat your ass out if they happen to see a video from a drone. And then they report you, and pretty soon, I think the last I spoke to Alan, he said, the FAA is going to make you licensed for a drone.
Licensed drone operation for commercial activities been a thing for a while, though. Now, the problem I have is the recreational use of the registering for recreational drones. That I think is a bridge too far.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not going to fly a drone at 30,000 feet, for God's sake.
But the problem is there are always assholes that will, and that's one of the problems out there. But unfortunately, the government bodies and there's the same problem. I'm actually more familiar with the drone regulations in the United States than I am in Australia, mostly because I'm trying to get what pilot qualifications I have from my military days in the Army transferred over here to the United States, so I can continue doing bits and pieces and maybe get reflight certified with my involvement with the U.S. Air Force Civil Air Patrol.
Okay.
But so I through that, I became a member of the AOPA, the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, and so on. So I followed the whole drone thing along because I have a drone, but my drone is light enough that at this point, unless they've changed it just recently, my drone is light enough that I don't need to register it unless I am doing commercial activity with it. Well, most of the stuff I do with the drone is to make a video and send it to a friend of mine's husband who was a naval aviator and basically make fun of him for crashing his drone into the tree and, make videos on how to fly a drone, courtesy of the Australian Army, teaching, a U.S. naval aviator how to fly. There's that sort of rivalry between it. But, yeah, look, the FAA have been all over this for a while. I know of a case where a guy was just posting his drone footage on YouTube. He wasn't monetizing it, but YouTube was, and they went after him. Because somebody was making money out of it, he needed to do the training and get it registered.
That's what happened to Alan.
On.
That's what happened to Alan Thomas. He got ratted out. He made a very nice video, and you can go to Squatch Zone on YouTube and you can see his videos. But somebody saw his video somehow, and they ratted him out. I don't want a big drone. I just want a little drone. I don't want something that's 3 feet big. I mean, Alan's drone had puppies. I wanted to have one. I just wanted to have a little small one. Alan set one aside for me until I found out, now I got to license the damn pup now. I was going to buy one, and then I thought, what a hassle all that. You can't even have fun anymore. I just want a drone to see if I can fly one and not make it explode and see if I can, look at the house or look at the mountains or something like that. No, they're killing fun. Buzzkill. They're buzzkillers.
Yeah. And quite often I'll take my drone off with me to watch the local football team play, and I'll set it up at the off field, but pointing at the line of scrimmage with the camera, and then at the end of the game we'll download the footage from the drone with the coaches and stuff, and they love getting that sort of footage out of it. I'm not making anything out of it. I'm doing it to support the team, but it's a great way to. Just have a bit of fun with it. And, my kids have always loved, wanting to film themselves running around and being silly. I got, apart from 2 adult boys, I've got 2 elementary school age kids as well. And, they love, running around and smiling at it and, waving and everything else. Just, it's an excuse for them to get out of the house and run around and get a bit of exercise.
So there we go. My hopes of having a drone dashed by the FAA. Thanks, buzzkillers.
How heavy was it?
I can't remember the name of it, but I saw, and I shouldn't say this because I'll puff up the dress of Facebook. There was a Facebook ad, and I saw this little sort of black-colored drone, and really the melanin count doesn't mean anything to me. It could have been white, it could have been black, but it was the size of this thing, and it looked appealing, and it wasn't $10,000, and there were some fairly decent reviews for it, and I thought, okay, I'll buy this thing. It's not very big. It folds up. You can put it in a little box or something and transport it. It looks like it's easily transportable. And then I found out all the crap that comes with it.
Sounds like the DJI Mevo.
No, I don't think it was DJI. Well, you know what? It might have been. What's a really big, popular drone that you can think of?
Anything from DJI.
Is it DJI?
Your Mavic.
That's that. Okay,
early ones.
There we go. In chat, Alan just told me Alan has a Mavic Pro.
Okay.
So this one that I was looking at, I don't think it was a DJI. It was much smaller. It was another company. It's probably made by DJI or some bigger company, but it didn't have that name. So anyway, what a buzzkill. I'm not going to get a drone. What I will do is, like I said, in CONSTRATFOR, we are going to laugh at leftists tonight. And the social media promos were me and Jack are going to shred and skewer leftists. Well, what better place to start than tonight?
Done on this, and of course, we owe a debt of gratitude to President Barack Obama.
Right.
Of course, I also work for President Obama, Vice President Biden, and I know that the problem with your plan is that it leaves 10 million.
You know what? I got to tell you, I'm looking at the video right now. I don't even know who this guy is. I don't identify his voice. I don't know if anybody else does. Jack, maybe you do. I don't. So I couldn't care less about this guy. But now he's talking about what a great friend he is of Obama. Come on, dude. Go ahead.
I'm not sure who that was.
Now, on the last debate stage in Detroit, you said that wasn't true when Senator Harris brought that up.
Here we go. Now
there was a fact check of that, and they said that was true.
He's looking at Joe Biden.
I grew up with a grandmother who had type 2 diabetes, and I watched her condition get worse and worse. But that whole time, she had Medicare.
Is this guy trying to say that Joe Biden has diabetes?
I want every single American family to have a strong Medicare plan available. If they choose
Julian
to
Castro.
hold on to strong, solid private health insurance, I believe they should be able to do that. But the difference between what I support and what you support, Vice President Biden, is that you require them to opt in. And I would not require them to opt in. They would automatically be enrolled. They wouldn't have to buy in. That's a big difference because Barack Obama's vision was not to leave 10 million people uncovered. He wanted every single person in this country covered. My plan would do that. Your plan would not.
They do not have to buy in. They do not have to buy in.
You just said that. You just said that 2 minutes ago. You just said 2 minutes ago that they would have to buy in. You said they would have to buy in.
Have to buy in. If she qualifies for Medicaid,
are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
Whoa.
Are you forgetting already what you said just 2 minutes ago?
I love this.
I mean, I can't believe that you said 2 minutes ago that they had to buy in, and now you're saying they don't have to buy. You're forgetting that.
I said anyone with a grandmother who has no money.
We need a healthcare system.
You're automatically
enrolls people regardless of whether they choose to opt in or not. If you lose your job, for instance, his health care plan would not automatically enroll you. You would have to opt in. My health care plan would. That's a big difference. I'm fulfilling the legacy of Barack Obama, and you're not.
I'll be surprised to him.
Andrew Yang.
This is why presidential debates are becoming unwatchable. This reminds everybody of what they cannot stand about Washington. Scoring points against each other, poking at
Oh, there's the great guy Pete Buttigieg, who's all kumbaya over the Demorats. I love it when they slaughter the crap out of each other. Anyway, that's all I'm going to play tonight from the Demorats debates.
Man, yeah. I actually that bit must have been playing while I was still finishing my show because the debate started an hour. I still had an hour left on my show, so I only caught up about the last 2 hours of it, and then to make it watchable, I watched the Stephen Crowder take on it to at least make it entertaining. But yeah, and another part of it, they were really, they're all fawning over Pete Buttigieg's, or Pete takes it up the butt a bit, and his military service.
Yeah, what a guy.
I looked into his military service. He was Naval Reserve. Yes, he was deployed to the sandbox in Naval Intelligence, where he spent the tour as the driver for the CO. So as someone that has served in the military, as someone who's had a 10-year career in the military, who gets assigned to the driver? Usually the gays that nobody feels comfortable being around, or someone that is a complete clusterfuck at their job. I pretty much can guarantee that Pete Buttigieg qualified on both counts.
Well, these are the people. Okay, what do we do with this guy Pete? Well, he can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Who does he have the best chance of killing? Oh, let's put him as driver for the CO. Yeah, that's a great thing. That's what we ought to do. Hey, folks, just for a moment, I got to tell you this. This is, in fact...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
This is a happy story. Now, remember, Jack, you may remember this as well. 2 nights ago was either... my memory's gone. It was either last night or night before. There was that... it was Tuesday night when I had David Blackwelder on from North Carolina. There was a special election in North Carolina. And the Demorats were saying, this is big. This is huge, because if for whatever reason anything goes awry for the Republicans, it will prove conclusively, without a doubt, that Donald John Trump, OMB, is on his way out. Well, guess what, folks? Okay, for the special election, here are the live results for the North Carolina elections. So, voters in the North Carolina's 9th congressional district voted. And let's see. Here's the results. U.S. House, North Carolina 9th congressional district. Dan Bishop, the GOP guy, won with 50% of the vote, 50.7. The Demorat lost. And the second for the U.S. House, North Carolina 3rd congressional district, Greg Murphy, the GOP dude, won at 61%, and the Demorat lost at 37.5%. So, Demorats, take all that stuff and blow it up your butt. Because Trump is not on his way out. I'm sorry, he's not on his way out. Jack, is OMB on his way out, do you think?
Oh, hell no. I mean, look, as I've said numerous times on my show, look, Donald Trump is an obnoxious, arrogant son of a bitch.
Oh.
But he is the right arrogant, obnoxious son of a bitch to be president of this wonderful country, because he has taken politics and turned it on its ass and really highlighted that you don't need to be a politician to be, or it proves that, the best presidents are not politicians. They're real people. And, that's really, and I love that he's brash, obnoxious, and arrogant. And the way he has become the king of trolls. Barack Obama used to, promote the fact that he was the first person to use the internet effectively to get elected as president. And Donald Trump comes along and slaps me out, sit down, Junior, let me show you how it's really done. And, every step of the way, through all of the Democratic debates, Donald Trump's campaign bought all the internet advertising. Tonight, in the 2 hours while all the libtards and snowflakes are melting outside waiting to get into the debate, the Donald Trump campaign were flying aerial signs.
I saw that.
Saying socialism sucks.
I saw that. That was wonderful. Folks, if you didn't see it, there was, you know how you can get Skyriders and you can rent the planes that have a big, long ad or something like that flying behind the plane? Well, that's exactly what happened at the Demorat debate tonight in Houston. I want to go to a big story right now because, let's see, we've got 7 minutes before the top of the hour break. And there are two really big breaking stories that I want to cover now, and then if we get to the second one before the break, that's great. If not, then I'll get to it after the break. And folks, if you don't know and you just tuned in and for whatever reason, maybe you're listening in Bolivia right now, because in Bolivia it's 1749.72, 835% hours, subcluster 3, Groot cluster 4 in Bolivian time, which is just a weird time. But this story just came out. Prosecutors, this is from Politico.com. And talk about Schadenfreude. Talk about BZ going, yeah. The headline from Politico. I'm going to have to do this seriously. Prosecutors recommend indicting Andrew McCabe over lack of candor about media leaks. The former FBI deputy director, who now is a pundit on CNN. The former FBI director launched a counterintelligence probe into President Donald Trump after he fired James Comey in 2017. Federal prosecutors, yay! Federal prosecutors have recommended indicting former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and that recommendation, by the way, folks, came from the Inspector General report, if I'm not mistaken. And after reviewing Andrew McCabe's information over his alleged lack of candor during an internal watchdog probe in 2017, so somebody said who was familiar with the matter, it's still not clear what specific charges prosecutors have recommended be brought against McCabe, who was fired in March of 2018 after the Justice Department's Inspector General, as I indicated, concluded that McCabe had leaked information to the media without permission. Oh, that's right. The same media that is paying him right now at CNN. And then he made false or misleading statements to officials. What officials? Oh, that's right. FBI officials who will throw you in prison for doing that exact same thing. Yet Andrew McCabe is breathing free air today. McCabe's legal team had asked the Justice Department to overrule prosecutors' recommendations, but were rebuffed, the person said. Jack Alexander, Andrew McCabe, might he wear an orange jumper, do you think?
Oh, look, I certainly hope so, but I certainly hope he's the first of many. He is one person that's leaked information, what's it under the Record Keeping Act? The unauthorized dissemination of information. It was one of the many felonies that was also listed against Hillary Clinton.
Right.
When it took 5 minutes to read out the number of felonies that she'd committed with that email server. So they really need to get this guy wearing the arrowed jumpsuit and getting a new flatmate by the name of Bubba,
right,
and
right.
Get him into general population, and so that it starts sending the message to bureaucrats out there, and I don't care what side of the political divide they fall on. If you break the law, you are going to meet justice.
You go to the pokey. Everybody else does.
Yeah, and we've really got to start showing not just America but the world that your actions, whether you're a Democrat or liberal, whatever you wanted to self-describe yourself as, your illegal actions will have consequences, and it's time to start enforcing these laws. So yes, jailing McCabe, and I think he's going to have a hard time beating this rap. He'll probably get a lenient sentence out of it, but he will have a hard time beating the rap. And hopefully then they can really start opening the floodgates and start putting these people away.
Yes, this is what I've said exactly, Jack Alexander. This is what I've said. All it takes is one person, because you work these guys just like the feds work criminals, and that is you threaten somebody with putting them in the prison, because orange, after all, is the new black, and then you get somebody to roll, and then somebody rolls on somebody else, and then after a while, people are scrambling like assholes trying to make deals all over the place. Put one of these guys away, and then I think you'll see a lot of people scrabbling for deals, including, I hope, Jimmy the Leak Comey.
Yeah, I mean, he was essentially given a smack on the back of the wrist by a feather rather than slapped into the cuffs that he so rightly deserves.
All we need is just that one person to go away, or the threat of serious time, and I think you'll see the floodgates actually begin to open. I'm kind of surprised at this Politico story, because Politico is not moderate. They lean left. It kind of depends on who you get to and who you read, but they're not moderate to slightly right at all. The Politico article quantified McCabe this way. It says, McCabe, who launched a counterintelligence investigation into Trump after he fired FBI Director James Comey in 2017. I'm shocked Politico even wrote that. Said in an interview earlier this year that he believed his firing over a lack of candor was a perfect way to undermine my ability to, provide testimony against the president. Once again, like all these other leftists, it's all about them and it's about nobody else. We got to take a break. We're talking to Jack Alexander of the Jack Alexander Experiment. He's speaking to us from down under, and we'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The fastest 2 hours in radio. Not really. Oh, but, well, for me it is. I am Beezy. I'm the Bloviating Zeppelin. You are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. That's with a K. 2 miles east of the Bill Mill, the locus of evil on the entire left coast. That would be the Capitol building at 10th and L Street, downtown in Sacramento, where at night you can clearly hear the death of common sense and smell the odoriferous stench of sulfur and brimstone from you-know-who, the big S guy, emanating from that evil building where... But that's a story for another day. Tonight we're talking to Jack Alexander, and he's part of the CONSTRATFOR that I have created tonight. I'm in the process of attempting to create a logo for same. But these logo design things, they actually want cash. I want to find one that's free. Okay, Alan says he's got a jet. Thanks for being here, Alan. I appreciate your being here. And thanks, thanks, Alaskan, also for doing a watch party on Facebook and getting some more people in here. So, folks, if you can help me out, you bet, I will enjoy and appreciate anything and everything that you've got. And when I open my merch store, T-shirts, I swear, T-shirts will be less than $75. I'll sign one for you. That'll be only $25 per signature. Oh, I forgot to get the mug. Son of a biscuit eater. Okay, I said I was going to do it on the break. Jack Alexander is here tonight. We were talking about Andy McCabe may get sized up for some orange jammies in the not-too-distant future. Jack, here's another story that just broke. This is by Sarah Carter. There are a handful of decent journalists today. Sarah Carter is one of the most sterling amongst them. If you want to find her stuff, and it's great, go to sarahacarter.com. This came out yesterday, and you and I, Jack, and other logical, sensible people suspected all along that Michael Flynn got railroaded. Well, now there's an article that says, the headline is from Sarah Carter, motion to compel Brady material unsealed. Flynn took a polygraph in 2016 and passed. So let me get into the article a little bit, and then, Jack Alexander, I'd like your input. Former National Security Advisor, Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn's defense attorney filed a motion yesterday, to compel the government to turn over a trove of documents, recordings, internal texts, emails, and notes that the defense believes will vindicate Flynn, while at the same time revealing the egregious behavior of government protesters. Oh, there's a shocker. Defense attorney Sidney Powell filed a motion unsealed to U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan on Wednesday. Now, Emmett Sullivan is not, by the way, if you remember, is not a big fan of the U.S. government and allowed some things to continue, but kind of slammed the U.S. government upside of the head on a number of cases, saying that you're not playing fair and you're not playing by the rules. So that's a good thing in my estimation that it went to Sullivan. The motion was originally filed on August 30th and is requesting the court compel the government to deliver the Brady material pursuant to the court scheduling order yesterday. This is the interesting part. The motion also reveals Flynn took a polygraph in 2016, passed the exam, and had his security clearance renewed despite former Director National DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, despite his refusal to assist in the investigation or renewal process for Flynn's clearance. So if you remember, James Comey, and he said this specifically, sent agents into the White House knowing that there was confusion in the Trump White House at the beginning of his first month in order to get some goods on people. One of them was Michael Flynn. And the FBI agents went in and spoke to Flynn, and the impression was that this is off the record. The FBI agents, by the way, said that they believed that he was telling the truth, yet Flynn was gone after for lying to the FBI. Now we find out that Flynn took a polygraph in 2016, passed it, and got his security clearance back. Any thoughts on that egregious crap, Jack Alexander?
There is I'm wondering how these cases actually managed to get it into court, given the brief. Look, I'm not trained in law enforcement like you are, to investigate scenes and so on, and analyze to some extent. But this is the clear violations of procedure and how the tainting of evidence that has gone on with all of this. The investigations have been so far outside of the realm. I'm wondering why judges haven't turned around and said, why is Michael Flynn here? This has nothing to do with the core of the investigation that is bringing this here. So why is this before me? I'm wondering. The sooner that this gets thrown out, the better. I mean, look, not that I didn't think polygraphs were actually permissible under law still, because they are relatively easily beaten if you know how.
Well, yes, and I do know how, and I bet you do too. I'm not going to tell anybody. I was given a polygraph and a CVSA. The CVSA thing is a different topic for a different time. That's a computerized voice stress analyst or analysis, in case you didn't know what a CVSA was. But people in intelligence agencies are given periodic polygraphs just because. But I want to go back to the original allegation here in terms of Mike Flynn, because the article mentions Brady material. And if you're not familiar with the law or whatnot, and the reason, here's why, Jack Alexander, you're asking that question, because I believe these judges, including the FISA judge to whom the dossier application was made by the FBI, they were given half-truths, and they were not provided with exculpatory material. Brady material, or a Brady disclosure, is exactly that. A Brady disclosure consists of exculpatory material or impeaching evidence or information that is important and material to somebody's guilt or innocence. That's what these judges aren't getting, and that is purposeful. So a Brady disclosure means that for whatever reason, the people that were applying or working against Michael Flynn were holding back. Those are called holdbacks. We have holdbacks in homicide, which is you don't give all the pertinent facts, for example, to the public, to the media, because you want holdbacks that only your suspect knows. But these judges were not provided with exculpatory material, and we're finding out that one of those pieces of exculpatory material regarding Lieutenant General Michael Flynn is his passing the polygraph. So it's like, okay, what else are you not telling us? The other part of that, Jack Alexander, is if you're a FISA judge, and I would expect some of the other judges, would you necessarily want to have it public that you were bamboozled by these people, especially in terms of a FISA court, because I know people that have dealt with them before? FISA.
If I was the FISA court judge, I would have had contempt of court charges brought up against that.
So pissed because you lied to me. You didn't indicate that the DNC purchased this material that went into the dossier. The FBI helped to purchase that material that went into the dossier. Little, if any, of it is actually true or even provable or even meritorious. The FBI went in its affidavit with a Yahoo News article. Furthermore, in terms of FISA, you have to go back and reapply every 90 days. So they didn't just do this once. They did it multiple times every 90 days because there's an expiration. You have to go back and reapply. There's a process, etc. So I like I said, I think we're on the cusp of having an individual or perhaps a series of individuals roll, and then all this GERP is going to come out.
We can only hope. Having watched this from the periphery, and just seeing the way that due process has been just completely thrown out, like the baby with the bathwater, just out of absolute spite. It doesn't matter whether you don't like Donald Trump or not. Everyone is so pissed at Donald Trump for winning an election so heavily rigged against him. They just cannot believe that Hillary Clinton lost. So they're clutching at straws every which way out there. And obviously somebody in the DNC or in Hillary's camp must have seriously thought that Donald Trump was a risk to actually start this ball rolling before the election. So I don't think they could have come up with this, it's obvious that this was in the pipeline beforehand as a get-out-of-jail-free card or something. They were sort of hoping, well, okay, even if he does win, we can just dump this, he'll get impeached, and, no one will question it, and Hillary will still be president. To try and, even though technically Mike Pence would have become president, but they still have this idea. They've still got this ludicrous idea that for Trump to win in a fixed election, he must have cheated. Yet all the cheating has firmly been documented has happened on the behalf of the Democrats.
Yes, and here's the other aspect. If Hillary Clinton had been installed as president, we would have discovered none, zip, zero, Z, none of this, the null set, none of this would be exposed at all. Well, here's another story, and you mentioned impeachment, so I think that's a perfect time to move over there. But I want to go into one more.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
And let's listen to this. If I can bring this up. Okay, now that's an article or a commercial. This just came out, and I'm looking at, let's see, what is this? NBC News. Supreme Court allows Trump administration to enforce toughest restriction yet on asylum requests. But, of course, NBC had to mention in there a lawsuit to stop the new policy is still working its way through the lower courts because we can't give any kind of props whatsoever to
highest court
Trump.
Giving the Trump administration permission to enforce its toughest restriction yet on asylum seekers, even though that policy is still being challenged in lower courts.
Right.
The decision allows the government to deny asylum requests from migrants at the southern border who have traveled through Mexico or another country without seeking protection in that other country first. The move is expected to severely cut down on the number of immigrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador who can request asylum in the U.S. The president claiming victory overnight, tweeting, "Big United States Supreme Court."
Yeah, I'd call that a win. So that's a happy story. But you mentioned impeachment, Jack Alexander. And the House Democrats decided now that they are going to move on the Trump impeachment. And so the Republicans are basically saying there's a gigantic Instagram filter hiding that sort of disarray. But this is very interesting. This used to be my Congress critter. And they moved the boundaries on me, which is what they do in the United States if you're a Republican. And I live in a very red area up in the mountains. So I guess they didn't want to have Representative Tom McClintock be my Congress critter anymore. But my former Congress critter, and he would still be my Congress critter by about 10 feet now, Tom McClintock said this to the Judiciary Committee, and I thought, oh, Tom, I should be hearing a lot more of this from you.
Recognition.
I'll just strike the last word.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, as I understand it...
Come on, Tom. Tom, don't fail me now. Okay, I'm getting the blue circle of death. Come on, Tom. Talk. All right, tell you what. While we're refreshing that, let's do this. Tom, refresh for me, please. There we go. Now, talk to me, Tom.
For what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
I'll just strike the last word.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, as I understand the Chair's opening comments, it was in essence, since the rules are silent, that gives us the ability to make them up as we go along. Well, no, when the rules are silent, precedent governs. And the precedence is clear, as my colleague from Arizona pointed out. In the 206 years that this committee has sat, it has never conducted an impeachment proceeding without first being authorized to do so by a vote of the full House. And that's because the power of impeachment belongs to the whole House, and the whole House has not delegated that power to any of its committees. It must first make that delegation, and to this date it has not. Committees are creatures of the House. Their only powers are those that are delegated by the House. Committees can't freelance. If the majority wants to exercise the House's power of impeachment, all you've got to do is ask the House to do so. All you have to do is ask the House that it direct and authorize this committee to conduct an impeachment inquiry. That's all you have to do. Resolve that the House authorizes the Judiciary Committee to conduct an inquiry into the impeachment of the president. It's that simple. I dare you to do it.
There we go.
In fact, I double dog dare you to do it. Have the House vote on those 18 words and then go at it. Why won't you do that? It's because you want to give the illusion of impeachment without the reality of it.
Yes.
You're duping that portion of your base that is clamoring for impeachment into thinking you are when you aren't.
Yes!
Some Democrats can tell their constituencies they're conducting an impeachment inquiry, while others can tell their constituencies that they aren't. You can have your impeachment and deny it too. That's why you won't pass that resolution. If this president is guilty of such heinous crimes as you have irresponsibly charged, why are you so reluctant to impeach him?
Just do it!
If you can actually prove these accusations, well, as Joseph Welch once said, why won't you do so before the sun goes down? You won't do so because you can't. And if you want to know what an abuse of power truly looks like, it looks like what's unfolding right now.
Thank you, Tom McClintock. Jack?
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out how can you obstruct justice when no crime was committed? That's the question that I'm still struggling with all of this.
Well, you can.
They keep saying, "Oh, okay."
Politically, you can make any allegation. You can make any allegation you want. You can allege anything. You can sue anyone for anything. But the devil's in the details, and the details are, how do you make it stick? The other aspect is, after it goes out of the House, they've been crowing about this for literally years. Maxine A6 intruder mouth Waters has been saying impeach, impeach, impeach. Well, shut the hell up and do it. Just do it. They can't even do it. They can't even unify enough to get the entire House to say, yeah, OMB, he's got to be out of here. Then they got to get it through where? The Senate. But they can't even get it through the House. They own the House.
And this is where I'm a little bit disappointed with Rudy Giuliani. I mean, it was such a distinguished legal career. This is obviously just an attempt to use the legal system to harass a citizen. Whether it's the elected president or not, it's irrelevant. If this sort of harassment went on against any other person, the defense lawyer would be up there. Look, this is unfair harassment. The charges that keep changing whenever we keep proving that the original allegations were incorrect, they come up with new ones and new ones and new ones and new ones and new ones. Keeps going on and on and on. At some point, why hasn't Giuliani put a motion before a court to say the harassment, if you've got actual bona fide charges, list the indictment or shut the hell up.
That's why. And Tom McClintock, folks probably don't know much about Tom, but I've followed him. I've contributed to a whole bunch of stuff. I've sent him money. I don't send money anymore to the Republicans. I target my cash now because I've learned a very important lesson. after having the GOP grow absolutely no spines, and they kicked me to the curb, so I decided that I was going to kick them to the curb. So I target specific individuals with cash, and Tom McClintock has been one of them. So Tom McClintock, I've discovered, is someone who doesn't speak unless he knows that he's in the right. He doesn't bluff, and that's one of the things that I absolutely admire about him. And if Tom McClintock threw down the gauntlet. I don't know of a larger gauntlet that he could have hurled other than that. And so,
yeah, he was certainly throwing it back at them, and he does make an interesting point that they don't have the authority to start this. And again, I think that's another case where Rudy Giuliani is letting down the president by not, using that same legal system. Turn around and say, look, they're running this investigation, and they are not chartered or authorized to do so. This has to stop.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now. I thought I had it listed up here, but apparently I don't. When I come back after the break, two things. I'm going to bring my mug here so that folks can see what the BZ mug looks like. And then in terms of, Alaskan made a really good point in chat. And he said, OMB's crime is that he beat Hillary. And I've said for a long time is that even now in 2019 and certainly in 2020, the Demorats, have not even transmogrified. They haven't even moved from November 8th, 2016 to November 9th, 2016. They're still back on November 8th. Well, there was...
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with, they absolutely needed Hillary Clinton to be elected president to hide the corruption under some sort of presidential orders, like Obama did with a lot of his college transcripts and his birth certificate and so on. If Hillary had become president, the whole Epstein thing would never have happened. And now because of that, not only is the United States looking at the people that are associated with Jeffrey Epstein and his, miracle suicide, foreign countries are also doing it as well, because leaders of many of the world, that follow the same political vein as the Democrat Party, that they're all now trying to distance themselves any way, shape, or form. Prince Andrew from Great Britain is a great example of that.
Oh, boy.
There are photos of him with a woman that has alleged that, she was forced to do things with the prince while a minor. And there's photographic evidence that they were there, of them together with Epstein. So there's, now more and more countries are saying, well, hang on, we can't let, the U.S. might have made this guy magically disappear, but we can't let this go. And I know there's a lot of legal challenges making their way through the international courts at the moment that are pushing. If the U.S. is not going to prosecute, continue the investigation into Epstein, to turn over the evidence so that we can prosecute these other people. And, it's going to be a big international law shit fight, because the U.S. has not been known for following international law. But actually, while we do touch on international law, I find it funny that the courts have sided with, just going back to the win that Donald Trump had with the immigration courts. The ruling they gave over the asylum seekers actually falls in line with UN law when it comes to asylum seekers. Under the UN Charter, they are supposed to seek to be regarded as genuine asylum seekers, to apply in the first safe harbor. Mexico has applied that, Mexico being the safe harbor. So even under international law, Donald Trump is right, which is, again, another reason why the Democrats, I think, need to go out of their way to try and impeach him.
Right. It's the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a break. Folks, we're talking to Jack Alexander of the Jack Alexander Experiment. He has his own radio show. We'll go over that at the end of the show. Or you can go to jackalexanderexperiment.com, jackalexanderexperiment.com. When we come back, I want to play you. It's a semi-lengthy video. It's about 10 minutes, 8 minutes or so, but it's Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, questioning an individual who is essentially a leftist, and he's telling you, because we're talking about votes and how Hillary crowed, how she got an additional, she won by 2 million votes, but she lost the Electoral College. Where did those 2 million votes come from? Oddly enough, there's somebody here who happened to tell Ted Cruz where they came from. And if this is happening in 2016, what do you think about 2020? We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Well, here we go. We're in the final 25. My God, the final 25 minutes of the show already. Holy crap, where does the time go? Again, this is why I have one of the best chat rooms in the entire universe. I mean, every bit of the universe. I mean, even the planet Zephron is jealous over my chat room because Mamba, and welcome Mamba, just made a referral to a tweet by Pamela Geller. Pamela Geller just said the Judiciary Committee passes impeachment rules to expand the scope of inquiry. She writes, "This is war on America. 3 years in, and the party of treason is still trying to overthrow the will of the people." Absolutely correct. We have Jack Alexander on. I'm going to play it's about an 8 to 10 minute cut. It's Senator Cruz talking to somebody who's actually a leftist, but they're a logical thinking leftist, about Google and about censorship and about Google's bias. And as we're playing this, Jack Alexander, if there's some kind of a point that you want to make about this, just tell me and I'll stop it and you can make your point. So I may stop it. You can say you want to stop and make some kind of a comment. So just let me know when you want to stop this and we'll discuss this. As my college instructors used to say, discuss and then write in your blue book.
Let's do it.
Might help if I turn the... There we go.
Your story and your daughter's story.
Here we go.
And I will say I very much agree with you that you ought to be able to sue the heck out of Google and YouTube.
Yep.
And if anybody else other than big tech did what they have done to you, if any other citizen delivered a VHS tape of the murder of your daughter to you and your neighbors, you would have a common law tort for intentional infliction of emotional distress, and you could recover very significant damages. There is one group in the United States that is allowed to do what it's doing to you, and that is big tech, because Congress has given them a special subsidy and immunity from liability so they don't bear the consequences of their actions.
I imagine that.
And I think this hearing has underscored the need for Congress to revisit that.
And I hope you will do so, sir.
As do I. Mr. Prager, you described YouTube restricting various videos, I guess a total of, I believe it is 56 videos produced by Prager University on topics like the Ten Commandments. Another topic, as I understand it, that was restricted was one in which noted liberal, Professor Alan Dershowitz, who was a professor of mine in law school, did a video for you, a historical account of Israel's founding. And as I understand it, YouTube restricted that video as well. Does YouTube ever explain why it is restricting these videos?
Okay, let me stop right now. For those of you who don't know, Dennis Prager is a radio personality. He's got a massive syndicated show. I like Dennis Prager. But Dennis Prager did something even better. Dennis Prager created what he calls Prager University. And you used to be able to go to YouTube and find clear, concise, roughly 5-minute videos on multiple topics. Some of them lean a little bit right. Most of them skew right down the middle. But because it comes from Dennis Prager, he's been demonetized. He's been removed from YouTube. So that's a little bit of a background in terms of Ted Cruz talking about Dennis Prager. He's going to wrap up with Prager, and then the next guy that comes on after Prager, that's the guy I really want you to hear.
It explains nothing. This was the first explanation I heard, the incorporation of murder into the Ten Commandments. With regard to Professor...
I think we would want young people
we would.
hearing thou shalt not murder. That seems like a really good...
It was an argument for the alternative universe at that moment for me. I had never accepted the possibility of one, but I agree with you. One would think that that is exactly what young people should hear. God doesn't want you to murder. But so be it. As regards Professor Dershowitz and the video on Israel's founding, we have 320 videos. 15 of them concern Israel, and half of them have at one time or another been restricted. There is clearly a loathing of Israel at Google. I suspect there is a loathing of America as well. Virtually every video that we have put out that depicts America in a favorable way has also been at some time or another on the restricted list. My favorite example for years was Victor Davis Hanson, this remarkable professor of classics. And he made a video. He's one of the most calm-speaking humans I have ever met. He's the opposite of a grenade-throwing speaker. And the subject was the Korean War. The Korean War in 5 minutes. And it is no longer on the restricted. They go in and out, apparently, in some cases. And that was on the restricted list because... so I try to think, why would that be? Yeah. And I could only come up with the fact that it shows how noble America's cause in Korea was. That 37,000 Americans died to keep half of the Korean peninsula free. How many people even know that? The Korean War is in the rubbish bin of history, so as Lenin used to put it. It's just unknown. So we want people to be proud of America, not proud of its evils. Of course, America's had evils because it's composed of people and people do evil. But
you can't be proud of America. You can't support America. Not according to leftists.
Largely been extraordinarily good, and they don't want us to depict that.
And Mr. Spreaker, could you describe what the effect is when a video is placed on the restricted list? We heard the representative from Google say, "Oh, it's no big deal. It's just 2%.
Right.
You should be just fine with it." What is the effect of Google arbitrarily?
Well, as I explained earlier, it can't be seen by vast numbers of parents have filters, totally understandably, given how much junk is on the internet. So this is what's so very important. It not only hurts us in that family can't see that video. It hurts us because then it is a statement by Google that Prager University produces videos on the moral level of pornography.
Right.
I mean,
and there's no appeal. There's no remedy when
Google exercises
there is none. Arbitrary power.
We have actually spoken to representatives of theirs that after they say algorithm, if we actually get someone on the phone, we have had humans review it at Google and keep it up. Why? That's community standards. Your video violated community standards. Well, how exactly does the founding of...
Yeah, by the way, for anybody who's been censored from Google or YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Jack, have you been cut off at the knees by Twitter or Facebook or anybody?
I've had a couple of videos pulled down, but what I'm dealing with the most is copyright claims. And they're completely bogus. I mean, almost every other day I have to go into YouTube and challenge because someone out there is trying to claim that I'm using a copyright claim against me for using my voice on my show without their permission. I mean, the copyright strike thing on YouTube, anyone, it's like the way the red flag laws will be abused. They don't like what I'm saying? Oh, we'll just put a copyright strike on it. Rather than taking it down, it means that any possible monetization that I would get goes into their pocket. See, the first stage with all of this, with these copyright claims is, well, we'll just take their monetization so we get paid. And for the artists who have, their music videos and stuff, repeatedly uploaded and so on. Yeah, that's fine. But they've made it in such a way that the claimant doesn't have, you as the content creator are guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around.
Well, yeah, it is Napoleonic law, yes.
And I've had numerous phone calls with Google, their reps in Australia and the US. Well, supposedly in the US, you can never tell with the accents on there. But it's a case of, well, you know, they've had to. They're claiming my voice. I've got no recordings on there. They're claiming I'm using my voice without their permission. You know, what? Why did you know? Why does this need to go to a human review? You know, the algorithm pinged. No, the algorithm didn't ping this. You know, that you keep calling them a lie. They keep changing the rules, and then they'll turn around and say, "Hey, you should try and promote your channel. You know, spend money with us."
Yes. Yes, that's what I keep getting. I keep getting that too. Yes, I keep getting, boost this post. We hate you. We'll take your money, and then we'll censor you, but we want your money, and then we'll kick you off, but we want your money.
Yeah. And, you know, or why aren't you monetizing it? It's because your terms of service means that my talk part of political talk is not welcome there to be monetized. It's completely legal, and you can't shut me down for it, but you just won't allow me to make any money for it. Which is, you know, are there people that are not wanting to have their ads run against my show? Yes, I accept that. But there are a ton of other businesses out there I know that would. The simplest solution to a lot of YouTube's problems would be, especially when it comes to the monetization, you know, for those people that are buying advertising, do you want to advertise against gun content? Yes or no? Do you want to advertise against political content, conservative, liberal, whatever? Yes, no, and tick the boxes there. I mean, YouTube, to be woke, are shooting themselves in the foot financially by limiting how people can monetize. You know, you're only allowed to monetize if you fit within our social narrative. Social narrative, mind you, which Ted Cruz has pointed out previously, that they should not be allowed to do given the legal protections that they were given. They were given that protection from third-party civil suits on the provisor that they were an open platform.
Yes,
that provided the posts.
Yes,
that the posts were legal, so you know, no porn, that you know, snuff, you know, people being killed and stuff.
Yeah, no,
on there.
No advocacy of killing, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
See, I think social media isn't a platform. It has been proven to be an editor, therefore a publisher, and if it's an editor and a publisher, because it removes your crap, it is therefore subject to all laws, suits, slander, you name it. That's what should be available. Jack, I'm running out of time, and I want Senator Cruz to get to another guy. So let's continue with Dennis Prager, and then something that I think is going to open your eyes.
Israel, by a Harvard law professor, violate community standards. It just does.
You know, I have to say it reminds me of the famous adage about the Supreme Court. We are not infallible because we are final, but rather we are not final because we are infallible, but rather we are infallible because we are final. And that appears to be the same approach at Google.
Yeah, we have the power.
Dr. Epstein, I found your testimony
Here we go.
incredibly powerful and
Here
incredibly concerning.
Listen to this.
If anyone draws news out of this hearing, I would encourage you to review very carefully Dr. Epstein's testimony. And I'd like to take a moment to make clear several things. First of all, as I understand your background, you're not a Republican and nor are you a conservative. Is that accurate?
That would be an understatement.
Dr. Robert Epstein.
And indeed, you're the former editor-in-chief of Psychology Today.
Correct.
So you're a respected academic. You testified before this committee that Google's manipulation of votes gave at least 2.6 million additional votes to Hillary Clinton in the year 2016. Is that correct?
Stop. Listen.
Is that accurate?
Listen.
That would be an understatement.
And indeed, you're the former editor-in-chief of Psychology Today.
Correct.
So you're a respected academic. You testified before this committee that Google's manipulation of votes gave at least 2.6 million additional votes to Hillary Clinton in the year 2016. Is that correct?
This guy says he's an academic and he knows from where he's speaking that Google gave 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton, indicating that she would not have won the popular vote had it not been for Google interfering in elections. It's not Russia. It's Google.
Correct. And I want to make sure I understand. You personally supported and voted for Hillary Clinton.
I was a very strong public supporter of Hillary Clinton, yes.
So you're not dismayed that people voted for her, but your testimony is that Google is, through bias in search results, manipulating voters in a way they're not aware of.
On a massive scale. And what I'm saying is that I believe in democracy, I believe in the free and fair election, more than I have any kind of allegiance to a candidate or a party.
And looking forward, if I understood your testimony correctly, you said in subsequent elections, Google and Facebook and Twitter and big text manipulation could manipulate as many as 15 million votes in a subsequent election?
In 2020, if all these companies are supporting the same candidate, there are 15 million votes on the line that can be shifted without people's knowledge and without leaving a paper trail for authorities to trace.
Now,
listen.
Testimony correctly.
Listen.
You said in subsequent elections, Google and Facebook and Twitter and big text manipulation could manipulate as many as 15 million votes in a subsequent election?
In 2020, if all these companies are supporting the same candidate, there are 15
and they will
15 million votes on the line that can be shifted without people's knowledge and without leaving a paper trail for authorities to trace.
Now you described the Go Vote reminder.
Stop. Digest that, folks. Digest
that on top
that.
of the 3.2 million illegals that voted. I
Yes.
mean, there's no way that Hillary won the popular vote, any way, shape, or form, considering what she got almost exactly the same number in the popular vote as the number of illegals that voted. So, here's even more numbers to show that, more proof on why they hate Trump so much, that with, so much rigging against the democratic system, they still couldn't even get Hillary across the line.
That's how poor a candidate she was. And as you indicate, Jack Alexander, with all this rampant corruption and cheating, they still could not install the anointed one who should have been there, going back to my original predicated statement of Demorats have not moved one day. They are still back in November 8th of 2016, and that's why they're still pushing for impeachment. But listen, folks, to what this guy said. 2 million votes in 2016, plus, as Jack just said, 2 million votes from illegals, and she still couldn't get the election. Plus, I suspect, and I throw this in, you could easily have, due to motor voter and other incidentals, here in California, spelled with a K, another 2 million votes given to Hillary Clinton. That said, here's a guy saying in 2020, potentially, if Google and YouTube and Amazon and all those guys go behind the Demorat, which they will. Now, prove, as he says, prove that they didn't nudge in every algorithmic way possible 15 damn million votes. Prove it.
And you said it wasn't a public service announcement, but rather manipulation. Can you explain how? I'm not sure everyone followed the details of that.
Well, sure. If on Election Day in 2016, if Mark Zuckerberg, for example, had chosen to send out a Go Vote reminder, say just to Democrats, and no one would have known if he had done this, that would have given that day an additional at least 450,000 votes to Democrats And we know this without doubt because of Facebook's own published data.
Thank you.
Because they did an experiment that they didn't tell anyone about during the 2010 election. They published it in 2012. It had 60 million Facebook users involved. They sent out a go vote reminder, and they got something like 360,000 more people to get off their sofas and go vote who otherwise would have stayed home. The point is, I don't think that Mr. Zuckerberg sent out that reminder in 2016. I think he was overconfident.
Okay, stop. Do you think he's going to do that in 2020, Jack Alexander?
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, hell yes.
As I said, they need to undermine the strength that Donald Trump has brought back to this country. There's not one political candidate running in the Democrat Party who is not a treasonous, lecherous son of a bitch.
Well, and that would also include the three sons of bitches who are also running against Trump right now. One is this stupid radio host who was always a never-Trumper, so he'll fit in well with George Will and that other loser who goes on all these cruises that Kurt Schlichter hates. Damn, I got to get Kurt Schlichter back on the show. So, hey, Dr. Bob, continue.
I think Google was overconfident. All these companies were. I don't think he sent that out. Without monitoring systems in place, we'll never know what these companies are doing. But the point is, in 2018, I'm sure they were more aggressive. We have lots of data to support that. And in 2020,
oh my God,
you can bet that all of these companies are going to go all out. And the methods that they're using are invisible. They're subliminal. They're more powerful than most any effects I've ever seen in the behavioral sciences, and I've been in the behavioral sciences for almost 40 years.
Listen.
I think he sent that out. Without monitoring systems in place, we'll never know what these companies are doing. But the point is, in 2018, I'm sure they were more aggressive. We have lots of data to support that. And in 2020, you can bet that all of these companies are going to go all out. And the methods that they're using are invisible. They're subliminal. They're more powerful than most any effects I've ever seen in the behavioral sciences, and I've been in the behavioral sciences for almost 40 years.
That's all you need to know right there. Jack Alexander, thank you very so kindly for being on the show tonight. Please,
always a pleasure, BC.
Please tell people where you can be found and where people can go to listen to your show, and when and how can people listen to your radio show?
The show is the Jack Alexander Experiment. It live stream on the Jack Alexander Experiment Facebook page and the Jack Alexander Experiment YouTube channel. It airs Monday to Friday nights from 7 p.m. Eastern. That's New York time, not Eastern Australian time. And it goes for 2 hours. Also, 3 to 4 or even 5 times a week, I also put out the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, which you can download wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of those sorts of places as well. As you've said numerous times, you can also find me at jackalexanderexperiment.com.
That's sort of the one-size-fits-all place where you can always find Jack. Now, customarily, because it's the end of the show, and I'm going to play my outro here, I would thank the guest. Jack, thanks for staying up so late. I really appreciate it. Most of the people I talk to are on the East Coast, except, let's see, it's 10 p.m. right now, almost 10 p.m. right now on the left coast, which means it's just about 1 a.m. on the East Coast. And in Australia right now, it's what time, Jack?
3 in the afternoon.
Okay,
3
so
Friday afternoon.
So I never feel bad about having you on the show because I'm not interrupting you and I'm not keeping you up late, and that's why I like having you on the show, Jack Alexander.
Well, I hope I passed the job interview.
And I hope I passed the audition. Thank you for being here tonight, Jack. We're going to have you back. Enjoyed it.
Always a pleasure.
I'm going to come up with that logo for CONSTRATFOR. Anyway. That was Jack Alexander. I was BZ, and this was The Saloon, and this is my outro.
Monsieur,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at bzep, at BZEP. My blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, the Boeing company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also, Pratt & Whitney engines, thrust. You can trust. My tiaras are by My Little Pony.
So will you please say hello?
Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. And thank you, and you, and you, and you, and you, ever so kindly. Thanks to Jack Alexander for being here the entire 2 hours. Thanks for listening live. Again, thanks to Jack. Thanks to everybody for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. I get a lot of hits in podcast. Thanks to truckers for listening. You guys have a great weekend. I'll be back next Tuesday with Jeff Dunitz. To you and yours, God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.